sometimes just curiosity, sometimes academic pursuits of knowledge and understanding, and sometimes a deeper desire to contribute or solve a larger problem for society. Regardless of what your motivations for doing research are, it is important to take a step back and look at the broader picture. What is research? It always begins with a question used to discover or create new knowledge. It can involve the synthesis and analysis of existing knowledge in novel and creative ways to generate new concepts, methodologies, or understanding. Or it can be used to understand phenomena, improve existing solutions, provide accepted theories in light of new facts, or to generate questions that provoke future inquiry. Research involves a purposeful and systematic investigation in search of an answer that has relevance to your goal or belief, thereby increasing knowledge. This occurs through observation, experimentation, gathering, and analysis of information, or the collection of data in accordance with suitable methodologies and guidelines. It then involves critical analysis and interpretation of that information to ensure reliability and validity of the results. And finally, evaluation of the hypotheses or theory proposed with support from the existing methods. The findings are designed to contribute generalizable insight for the research community. This can be through developing further ideas, applying new theories, solving problems, or improving understanding within the larger body of existing research knowledge. Ultimately, research is an original contribution, interpretation, or view that builds upon the work of the scholars who have gone before us. Our research allows us to see further by standing on the shoulders of giants.
Okay, good day everyone. So, today I am going to discuss an overview of research proposal writing. So, I know for a fact that you already have an idea what is a research, and I think that it's just fresh from your senior high school that you know what are the parts of it and like how you conduct it. But the reason why I did this research proposal writing session this time is for us to have uniformity with our chapters. Okay, so yeah, without further ado, let me start on with our discussion. So earlier, you've seen the video, and actually, I just want to define in three simple terms or simple definition what is a research. So let me just say that research is not actually a burden for us students, but rather it should be like an idea generation for us to discuss problems that we can create solution. Because by mere definition, it is a scanning of environment and identifying a problem. So once you see a problem and you want to find a solution, well, research is the answer. In scientific terms, it also involves methodologies and problem-based. We all know for a strategic research, it is best that we're going to have some methodologies, some steps to follow so that we could create an effective problem-based solving. And then lastly, to discover the unknown. Yeah, some things are not lay on the table easily. So you just need to know what are things or what are those ideas that doesn't have any answer at the moment. So maybe you can improve a system from your lifestyle or from the things you see outside. So, makitaan yun nato diri na kaning research di ay, it doesn't really mean that we need to just think of it like something that is just purely for submission or purely just for copying, but as well ato ni siyang tan-awon as a way for us to really know the unknown, no? Unsa pa na, like this one, like for example, the issues in COVID, no? Wala pa man jud kayo ta makaingon na it's a time-based na karon maka-create ta og solution with this one. But yeah, I think this would be a great idea for us to create a research to this one because this is something that is unknown. This is something that is new, right? Okay. Now, why do we need to have a research? First thing, to establish a claim. This is our thoughts. This is our theory. We think of it like, oh, this is what I believe. So I want to test if this is right or if my claim is true. Okay? You need to also research because you want to design an experiment. You want to conduct an experiment that would test if your thoughts are right. Okay? Lastly, to design to contribute to public knowledge. We need to come up with a research not because for our own sake, because it is beneficial not only for one sector of group, I'm sorry, one sector, but rather for all. Kung di manggali for all, at least majority, no? Kay, coming up of a research and then like just wasting all your time, wasting all your ideas, and then not benefiting the majority, then I think it will not it is not really a reliable research. So it's important that it is something that public can benefit. Okay? Now, I just want to make sure that we're going to just have simple research in our um, halal tourism subject. So I just want to enlighten you what are the top three research. Okay, so if you're able to search in the internet, there's a lot of types of research, but let's make it simple. Let's have qualitative research, quantitative research, and the next one is the mixed method. If you want to dig deeper and really want to cater those two, then we can have mixed method. When we talk about qualitative research, this discusses more about words. This discusses more about the perspective of the researcher and not for the, how can I say this one? Not for the population, okay? And then when we say quantitative, from the word quanti, it means numbers, no? So our study is based on facts, based on the generated data, and not on the perspective of us as the observer or the researcher, but it's on the perspective of the of the people, of the population. Okay, and if you want to make it more exciting, you could actually use the mixed method. It's a qualitative research plus quantitative research. So if you want to have an in-depth research plus something that has breadth or something that has like um, how could I say, more systematized mathematical solution, then you could have the mixed methods. Okay, so I just want to give you a criteria of understanding what are these two researches. Okay, we're just gonna stick with it too. And how are they differ, or what are the things that they differ? So the first one is the qualitative, and the second one is quantitative. When we talk about um, unit of analysis, as I've said earlier, qualitative is purely words, okay? So most of it are problems or examples, such as like for interview, when we conduct with study, we do essays, writings, and let's say more on the analysis and words. What about when quantitative? When we say quantitative, we talk about statistical treatment. Data are quantifiable or measurable. So the numbers is our unsay ngalan ani niya, is our basis to come up with the results and discussion. Okay, so one example of this that we can track could be like academic performances, satisfaction, um, how can I say, service quality. These are something that are measurable. Okay, but rather when we say qualitative, for example, when we do interview, we cannot really like generalized with just one person, no? So this is qualitative. Okay, next one is instrument. Okay, as I've said, when it is qualitative, it is the researcher's perspective. So overview na siya, or let's say observation na siya ni researcher. So for example, you conduct a study on, how could I say this one? Let's say the COVID-19 pandemic's effects on students. And then you observe this one, and then uh, matters such as like using of the senses of the researcher plus the interview um, result, it would be qualitative, no? Something that is about what I see, what I observe, what I understand. When we say quantitative, it is, yeah, it is on the man-made tools. For example, the usage of ruler, the thermometer, something that is accurate. Okay, that's quantitative. Now, when we talk about substance, okay, we talk about death for qualitative. Unsa ng death? Kalalumun. Kalalumun sa substance sa atong information. Unsa ka dapat mas maklaro ang pagsabot sa phenomenon, and then also the number of participants are not as many with quantitative. Okay? Kalalumon. That's depth. When we talk about breadth, this is the vastness of data. When we have quantitative data, the more the better. The population study, the power of statistics, this is the secret for quantitative data for substance. And then for we have, the next one we have intention. When we say qualitative, we can never generalize. So there are number of participants that we can invite for qualitative study. Let's say, for example, convenience sampling. That is something that is convenient to the researcher, and then selected group of individuals. Oh, sorry, yeah, selected group of people. So that's qualitative. And then when we say quantitative, should be in general. So it's more on the population side. Okay. And then what about the sampling? Oh, that's what I mean earlier. When we say qualitative, it is the researcher's judgment. There's no representative sample. An example would this would be purposeful sampling and convenience sampling. When we say quantitative, we talk about population is represented. For example, you would like to study school, then we could have random sampling, so anyone can just answer your survey. That's quantitative. What about in terms of theory? Qualitative generates theory. Okay? So you become the proponent. You're neutral in the sense that you're going to, how can I say this one? You're going to the one that will test your idea, and then you're going to generate based on your observation. Okay, when quantitative, you're going to test, how can I say this one, the population, and you're going to see and measure if this is true based on the data that gathered. Okay, data that we gather. Okay? What about an analysis? When we say qualitative, it is objective. Unsa na siyang objective? So, it utilizes the framework of the researcher. It is something that the researcher wants to mm, emphasize on the study, and also like wants to add information to the depth of the research. When we say quantitative, it is something that has statistical results, and the analysis would be subjective. Okay? You can never like impart there that say I. It is not your own perspective, but this is what the data, it's the result of the data. Okay, so, and then you're just going to translate it. What about relationship with participants? When we say qualitative, it is personal because you're going to immerse yourself, and then let's say, um, have a how can I say, an in-depth understanding with a specific group of people. For example, you would like to study ethnographic study, so you need to immerse yourself in that area and then come up with a personal perspective on what you have experienced. But when we say quantitative, it is something that is impersonal. So just retrieving questionnaires, just giving questionnaires, and then like translating it. Okay. Last one, we have reporting. For qualitative, it is on narrative writing. Bear in mind that in qualitative, we're going to create many essays to come up with, let's say, a um, quality understanding of what you have experienced from that study that you have specified. So yeah, I think when we have qualitative study, it bears not it bears also experience. Okay, so it doesn't really mean that you're going to just study this one in one day. I don't think that is a good thing, but rather you need to really like fully immerse yourself to come up with a narrative writing for qualitative. When we say quantitative, it is something that is technical. Someone in technical writing. If you have English too, a technical writing does have numbers, translate it, generate um, a definition, or let's say understand merely the theory, and then like create a solution. Okay, although in qualitative you could also create a solution, but like accurately for technical writing, you can never like impart yourself or like put some personal touch on it, but something just factual, tanan factual ang kanang unsay ngalan ani yan, numbers. Okay, so muna siya ang quantitative. However, qualitative factual mo po na siya, but based on your own perspective, based on what you get from generating of ideas and what you get from experiencing. And then for reasoning, it is specific to general, that is inductive. Okay, so kung sa akong giingon sa una na katong triangle, right? If it's a quantitative, it is something that like this. So you come up with a specific one, and then you generalize based on your experience, and this is inductive. So you're going to come up with a solution. Probably you're come up with like what you have experienced. It is an experiential learning. If that's a qualitative. When we talk about quantitative, it is from theory to data. So more probably from this to this. So, you know, inverted siya na pyramid. It is deductive. So, for example, you would like to talk about, let's say, um, quality service in a restaurant. So you talk first with we talk first with the restaurant, going to service, going to quality, the types of quality, and then the factors up until you come up with the specific data for quantitative. Okay? So, yes, it's really up to you if you would like to choose qualitative or quantitative. Well, I just wish you luck for the study that you would choose. Okay, so let me just go further with the research proposal part so that you will be having a clear understanding of what is this. So the first one is a problem and its background. The second one is the review of related literature. The third one is the methodology. So let's first start. Okay, I think the number there is wrong. The first one is the problem and its background. Okay, so let's talk first the introduction. What is an introduction? Okay, when we talk about introduction, we talk about the topic, okay? We talk about the relevant ideas or the subject matter we would like to emphasize, okay? We need to define and elaborate the methods that we're going to use. Why is this important? The topic that you've chosen, the reason for the group why you chose that topic, like to emphasize what motivates you to do the study. And lastly, you need to come up with a purpose. What's the purpose of this? Who can benefit this? Okay? Well, when we talk about conceptual framework, we can also make it synonymous to theoretical framework. What is theoretical framework? The theory is anchored in your study. So who are the theorists or the author of the theory that is the inspiration of your study? For example, I would like to study the self-determination theory of Gagne. So I could say that this study is anchored through the self-determination theory of Gagne. So I have here an example. This is actually talking about a topic of service quality. The study is anchored on human social exchange theory that espouse social behavior or the results of an exchange process. So that's what I want to expect in your conceptual framework. You're going to tell me what is the whose theory is anchored to this framework, and also like make it specific. What is its relevance in coming up, or like how could I say this one in pairing it with your study. Okay, and then the next one is a statement of the problem. So in the statement of the problem, there should be a general statement of the whole problem, followed by specific questions or sub-problem. So, for example, another is like the case in Surigao del Norte service quality. Okay, so I would like to know what are the factors that the people in Surigao del Norte assess in service quality. So I have here, I name some factors that are specific, the reliability, assurance, tangibles. Also, this is in accordance with Human's theory. Okay, if you come up with, if you can see an inspiration of the questionnaires of Human, then that will be much better. Pwede rin na nimo siya buhaton, and then imo lang sigurong hatagan, di jud siguro, imo jung emailan siguro si Human if he's still alive, so that there will be ethical consideration for your study. Okay, so nana diha, and then the subtopics, how are the participants characterize their loyalty? Okay, so that's for the statement of the problem. Another thing that I would like you to also think is the schematic diagram. After the statement of the problem, I want you to come up with the schematic diagram. What is the schematic diagram? It's just like yeah, this is just like a picture of what is your study about and what will be the direction of your study. For example, this one, there's a service quality, and then I would like to know the customer loyalty of that specific establishment in Surigao del Norte. And then, for it to be beneficial to the population, I come up with a proposed action plan for the enhancement of restaurant. So this is an example of a schematic presentation that I want you to put after the statement of the problem. Okay? Next is the significance of the study. Well, the question is who can benefit? Why is it important? So an example for this, a restaurant that guarantees standard quality of products and services is more likely to run the business efficiently. So you could come up there with a why is it important and who. For the example here, we have restaurant operators. What other, who other else pa? Probably the government of Surigao del Norte. So you come up there on the specific group of people that can be uh, that can that can benefit from your study. Okay, and then scope and limitation. I'm sorry for that. Okay, so I guess na diretsuan ako sa number 2, but yes, scope and limitation, just discuss about like the limits of the study. So that's the importance why I want you to be specific with your study, because I don't want it to be so big. For example, you would like to just talk about service quality and then you go also thinking about like the UNWTO 7's what they call that one, the 15 principles. So it would be so chaotic for your diagram if there's no specificity. So you need to come up with scope and limitation. Might as well the participants of the study enlist there the specific restaurants, because if you're going to come up with like all of the restaurants, I think it would also be time consuming, and aside from that, it would also be hard in terms of financial matters. So, yun. Okay. Lastly, the definition of terms. When we talk about definition of terms, you need to define so that the reader and you can understand in a very simple matter what is your definition about, let's say, customer. What is loyalty in your own definition by the book. Okay, don't forget to do citations as well. Okay, now we're gonna have chapter 2, the RRL. What is RRL? This is just um, compilation of all the studies that were gathered in years, okay? But I would really, really encourage you to please choose studies that are 10 years, okay? At the max, that because those studies are just updated, and then like I do think if we're going to come up with a study in years 1990s or 1980s, these studies are not I mean, this could be like a basic, it could be like a basic contribution, but not like merely the best contribution of your study. I do think there's an updated literature on it, so please add the updated one because um, it would be much helpful for your study because these are the new one, the trend now. Okay, so I also want to emphasize contextualization. Contextualization means you're going to also impart there the studies in the Philippine context. Okay, because if for example we talk about Philippine halal and then you go Malaysian, that's good for international studies, but what about Philippine? Maybe you could search some Filipino authors as well. That could also be a big factor for your citations. Okay, so I have an example of a RRL. So what I just want to have for your RRL is that you're going to segment what is in your schematic diagram. For example, in the serve qual, I would like to know the variables and then I will segment it in the RRL. For example, one of it is the tangibility. Okay, so I would come up with a study everything about tangibility. Then one of it is loyalty. I will come up with a study everything about loyalty so that the reader can have a segmentation of which is which. And it would be simple for the reader to direct, oh, this is the study of tangibility. This is the study of loyalty. Do you get my point? I hope so. Okay. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, so when you come up with citation, it's important that we're gonna use APA format. So yeah, I could recommend you some programs such as Mendeley. So Mendeley, that is a program that could be useful for citation if you want it like just type all the information and immediately when you're going to gather data in the references, it would be just so easy. Okay, you could search in YouTube how to use Mendeley. It's a free software, same with Scribber. Okay, so the last part of our research is chapter 3, which is the methodology. So the first one is the research design. So what is a research design? Okay, when we say research design, it is like the purpose of the study and then describe the research. What is the type of research you're going, the qualitative or the quantitative, and like define uh, what is that qualitative in your own perspective or probably like coming from an author. When we talk up with the participants of the study, you're going to indicate there the sampling technique that we use. You could search in the internet as well. The sampling technique could be like a probability sampling, convenience sampling. So also indicate on the participants of the study um, how many respondents do you need to have for your study, and then the research instrument. Okay, so an example for this like surveys anchored from if the theory that you've used have already this um, reliability tested survey, then you could use that as a research instrument, or if it's a man-made tool, man-made survey, man-made research instrument. And then the data gathering procedure. So how will you do the data? For example, I would conduct first let's say the study we have, it's Sarigao del Norte. You could actually I go first to the government offices and like come up with a letter indicating my request or my proposal for data gathering procedure and like maybe top also some of different organization that's important for my study. And then lastly, let's say I'm going to go to different schools or let's say different restaurants and conduct survey questionnaires. So it's really up to you. How would you make it simple for you in data gathering procedure? And then the scoring procedure. So this is like you could come up with a Likert scale. Like how would you score your, if for example you're going to use quantitative data, for example, 5 being very high, 4 high, 3 middle, like that. So the scoring procedure must be very clear. And if you're going to use frequency, the mean, this SD, standard deviation, you need to indicate that as well. Same with the statistical treatment of data. Dun pala. Sa statistical treatment of data, dito manggawas tong what formula will you use? You're going to use Sloven's ba? You're going to use let's say the frequency distribution table, the STD, the statistical treatment of data must be very clear so that if you're gonna come up or gather data soon, you're gonna know which statistical treatment you will use, especially if you're going to use quantitative data. And the last one for the references, please indicate proper citation, the APA format. So what is the APA format? I'm going to give you another video for this, okay? But I'll just send you the YouTube link in your group page. Anyway, I think that would be it for this discussion. Thank you for listening. And if you do have any question, please just message me or probably like put it in our group page so that I could be informed. And also, yes, don't pressure yourself. Just enjoy the process, or if wala man gali mo nag-enjoy, just think of it as a challenge for you to be how can I say this one? To be more equipped when you're going to come up when you're going to your desired job or desired professional journey, whatever it is that you want to in life, okay? So I just want you to have a great week and yes, see you soon. Bye.